launch of YouTube and web channels, the memory book of Janakaraliya. So we cordially welcome all of you for this event. I like to, provide a very brief summary of how Janakaraliya was created and little history. So in 1970, Mr. Parakramaniriyala joined Rangashilpa Chalika and some street plays, and in 1978, he could participate in a kind of a workshop with in Raipur in India with the Reverend dramatist Habib Tanvir, and as well as in Sri Lanka we have kind in the long history theater called type of dramas, and also some circuses. So to make this type of Mr. Parakramaniriyala joined Mr. Chepera, and in 2003 they planned for this, and in 2004 they started Janakaraliya drama troupe. Okay, so we must thank GIZ institution and SRP section to sponsor this book and also for the translation. Cordially invite Mr. Parakramaniriyala, sir.
I didn't have examples. We didn't have examples or guidelines for taking mobile theater from place to place and performing dramas in it. Training a multi-ethnic drama group, sustain and continue it, or creating dramas to be performed in center of a new arena theater surrounded by audiences from all four sides. The only near similar model we had were theater model of our villages, old villages, and the circus tents prevailing in our country. I met two such circus groups and studied the process, including management techniques applied to maintain their circus groups. We learned the adaptation of cast handling in new arena performing space from proscenium theater through application and practices. Since we did not have prior examples or experiences, we had to face new challenges and overcome them through trials. It was incredible, interesting experience. I have had enough and more experiences seeing this concept was born in my mind. At the same time, there were numerous intervening stories and incidents created and happened with continuation of Janakaraliya. Janakaraliya is a massive creative movement. There were two significant matters expected from Janakaraliya by HA and myself. The first was to instill aesthetic beauty and techniques, finds of proscenium theater or the mainstream theater and take it to the rural communities. The other was to engage in an effective and functional creative role to promote a cohesive and integrated culture in the society through the process of Janakaraliya. Janakaraliya had three contributing segments for that. These three segments were inseparably connected to Janakaraliya. The first was Janakaraliya Mobile Theatre and application of free performing spaces. In other words, performing quality and historic dramas to the masses without getting restricted to proscenium stages. Second one was to establish a professionally trained multi-ethnic theater group to perform in free performing spaces mentioned earlier. The third important segment was producing a chain of dramas in both national languages, Sinhala and Tamil. Janakaraliya does not exist in absence of any one of these segments. Janakaraliya is created with intimate blending of these three segments. Many people helped Eche and me to initiate Janakaraliya. Here, I must especially mention my dear friends of the members of founder boards of directors. Engineer Nihal Rupasinghe, architect Udula Bandara Ausadahami, Dilip Rohana, Ravindra Mapitigama, Rukmani Nirialla, my wife, Sunita Pereira, Amita Veerasinghe, Sinnaya Nataraja Shivam, Kamalini Cheluraja, the other people and friends. And by training drama and dramatists, Eche Pereira gave immense patronage as one of the board directors of Janakaraliya. Janakaraliya had a special position in South Asia. There was a time Janakaraliya was invited for almost all the drama festivals held in India. Several universities across the world, including University of Manchester in England, made Janakaraliya as one of the topics, especially as an educational example for applied theatre arts for social integration. Rangamanupriya, as an undergraduate of University of Aesthetic Studies, Colombo, wrote an exceptional thesis on Janakaraliya. When he came out of the university, I invited him to conduct a comprehensive study of Janakaraliya and write an analytical review. He accomplished a marvelous work. That's brilliant. It was translated into English by one of my colleagues, Vasanta Bakura, while Tamil translation was done by Mr. Velasamy Subramanian Naumani. I think both of them, I thank both of them for their translations. The GIZ Institute funded the publication of these three works. From this moment onward, these three works in Sinhala, Tamil, and English are ready for you to read. Also, a YouTube channel and a website with contents of 103 video clips of memories based on the initiation of Janakaraliya from the time I entered Rangasilva Chalika in 1974 to 2003, and also continuation of Janakaraliya from 2003 to 2020 is activated from this moment. These video clips produced in Sinhala and Tamil and English subtitle. Sorry. These video clips produced in Sinhala with Tamil and English subtitles are included in YouTube channels as well as the website. By surfing these videos, you will understand our struggle and endeavor to initiate Janakaraliya. In the beginning, also our continuous efforts to uphold and pursue the initiation. The YouTube channel and website will be useful to study students and undergraduates to understand the application of drama and theatre by Janakaraliya to promote peaceful coexistence and social integration in our country. There are some personnel who helped me to create this YouTube channel and website. They are Telina Megasan, Tisha Ramshani, Janakaraliya, Janaka Samantha, Amit Veerasinghe, Tyagaraja Shivaneshan, Neil Prematilaka, Mahendra Veeratna, Jainath Bandara, Ranga Manupriya, and Tyagaraja Veerasinghe. I offer my sincere thanks to all of them who helped me in publishing Janakaraliya book and creating YouTube channel and website. Also, I thank my friends, Dilip Rohana and Munjaza Sirivardhana, for their support in all these activities. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, sir. So we invite Professor Swami Lenage. He will talk about Janakaraliya and the Forum Theatre. Professor, over to you.
Parakrama Niriyalla first entered into the theatre scene in early 70s and joined as a novice at the Ranga Shilpa Shalika, established by a veteran theatre director and actor, Dhamma Jagoda, and a few others. This theatre training ground was a turning point in Parakrama and also H.A. Pereira's theatre or theatrical legacy. During my research in the early Sinhala theatres in 70s, I came across an interesting piece of writing done by an amateur actor who was a member of the Ranga Shilpa Shalika. Her piece of writing reveals a severe criticism towards the Jagoda's theatre ensemble and said that the whole actor training program was lacking social awareness and political sensitivity. In 1974, Gamini Hattotuegama, one of the patrons of the theatre ensemble, decides to depart from this collective and develop a street theatre group known as Wayside and Freedom Theatre Group, in which Parakrama, Niriyalla, H.A. Pereira, and a few others were a key protagonist at the time. This departure marks the journey of Parakrama and others towards seeking socially relevant and politically conscious theatre practice. This journey culminates with his new invention, Janakaraliya, People's Theatre Forum. He and his creative collaborator, H.A. Pereira, established decades ago. Today, we can recall this difficult but important theatrical intervention, which was highly influenced by Boalian's foreign theatre and his teachings on legislative theatre. Writing a research paper on Janakaraliya, donor agencies, and the role of peace building in Sri Lanka, Professor Nelufa de Mel argues that the signifying diet of the Sinhala Tamil, which has made Janakaraliya recognizable as a model and a brand of ethnic cooperation, is crucial to acknowledge, but ultimately inadequate for the irreducibility of ethnic specialties and interdependencies that a deeper peace building requires in a context where several ethnic fault lines have now openly appeared after the Easter attack. So this is the brief summary of what I have said in Sinhala. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts on Janakaraliya and my colleagues, Parakrama Niriyalla, as well as Ranga Manupriya, achievements in this and their achievements, as well as Ranga's important book publication on Janakaraliya. Thank you so much again, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Professor. So next speech by Ms. Nipuni Sharda from University of Visual and Performing Arts about Janakaraliya and theatre space. Ms. Nipuni.
I would like to give a little summary of my presentation in English right now. I witnessed Janakaraliya for the first time in 2010 when the tent was located in Anuradhapura. I was a secondary school student at the time. The structure and the total experience of the Janakaraliya alternative theatre took us out of our proscenium fantasy which was shaped by the drama and theatre curriculum and the theatre productions that came from Colombo to the Anuradhapura Yogunniketana. Janakaraliya is made of three key components: the mobile theatre, the multi-ethnic theatre group, and their bilingual plays. The theatre space of Janakaraliya, called the New Arena, is broader than the proscenium structure. Here, the stage and the auditorium, which define the topology of theatre, become a single unit. Actors are not separated from the public. The audience is not divided by the metaphorical fourth wall. A play can be seen from all four sides, and players must be conscious of this 360-degree viewing arrangement. This arrangement also makes the spectator visible to each other. The lights that illuminate the stage illuminate the audience as well. The seating arrangements are not hierarchized by the price of the ticket. The idea is to sit together and experience together. As Stanislavski would put it, the audience is also in the same circle of attention. So an awareness and a different kind of self-discipline is generated in the audience. At times, the actor may sit and view the play with the audience and suddenly get involved by representing the voice of the audience. And sometimes, audience members directly contribute to the flow of the play. At these moments, actors and spectators begin to share the same experience by sharing the same space. According to Richard Schechner, this sharing of the theatrical sphere and public sphere directly contributes to the fundamentals of the theatre. The spectators of Janakaraliya performances reflect on their shared experience at the post-show discussion, when the actors introduce themselves in their first language, and it is only then the diverse ethnicities of the actors are revealed to the audience. This revelation often results in a stronger engagement between the performer and the spectator, tiny but unmissable seeds of reconciliation. This mobile theatre doesn't have a specific location, but it is affected by the socio-political and cultural elements of the surrounding where the tent is placed. At the same time, the theatrical space of Janakaraliya ignores the identities of the place. In that sense, as suggested by Una Chaudhry, Janakaraliya is indeed a place of placelessness. Last but not least, the team members of Janakaraliya, including Parakram Niriyalla, must be remembered here. Their dedication, passion, and commitment towards theatre and our society as a whole will be a constant reminder to us of our responsibility as theatre practitioners. Thank you.
Professor Nirmal Ranjit Devasiri from University of Colombo. Sir, over to you, sir.
Actually, in my view, what my main objective of this short presentation is to consider the Janakaraliya experience as a very significant political intervention. I mean, so when I say it's a political intervention, so I mean, what is in my, what I mean is that any artistic intervention, whether it is a theater work or whatever it is, a movie, a painting, whatever. So there is I mean, broadly speaking, it's a special kind of, it's a human intervention. So it's a multifaceted, multidimensional human intervention. Of course, there's the pure art component in it. I mean, in the history of human being, the human beings have invented something called art. So art has its own rationale. There's a need for art. So there's something in human being where they are attracted to what is being offered by art. So I mean, that maybe we can call it the aesthetic dimension of it. But that is not all about any artistic representation, whether it is a theater work, whether it is a film, whether it is a painting or whatever, a piece of music, and a literary artwork, the poetry or novel, whatever. So there's something more than that. So that's where my intervention come into, is relevant. I mean, what I consider is that art, among other things, is a form of intellectual intervention, or rather, I mean, the intellectual intervention from side of a one particular human being, the artist. And when it comes to those who consume the artwork, so they also, I mean, initially they may be wanting to consume it as an artwork, but there's something more than that, right? So they, I mean, whether they voluntarily or involuntarily, so they are exposed to this multiple meaning. Perhaps the non-art, even to non-art movement. So that you may be watching a movie, and so there may be some the political messages and the various, there may be religious messages. So you are exposed to these messages, not necessarily I mean your art, right? So likewise, I mean, that is where the political relevance of artistic work. I mean, so that's, I mean, when you look at the specific example of Janakaraliya, so it is a, so you have this political, dimension. It is a, I mean, even consciously, if you talk to the major architects of this movement and people like Janakaraliya, Pereira, and many others, so they are very consciously, the political animals. They are politically motivated, while they are very good theater people, and so they are, I mean, they have produced high standard plays, and so at the same time, so they're politically conscious activists. So therefore, so I mean, this political dimension has a very special role which have been played throughout the career of Janakaraliya. And when you look at the moment that it came into being, so that is the year 2004, it's very symbolic. It's very symbolic in the sense that that's the year that the very important event took place. There's a new government came into place. It's not only a new government, but also a kind of marking of an era of a new political, bifurcation in our society. So on one hand, you have a kind of political movement which defined its objective in terms of nationalist kind of ideology, and particularly ethnocentric the ideology. Parallel to that, they are developed another kind of political imagination, which has a longer history, where the mainly the issues, the fundamental ideals that were raised in that camp, while there were a lot of vested interest by a lot of interested groups, the social justice, human rights, interreligious and ethnic harmony, and there's that kind of ideas, and so there may be some left-wing liberal kind of ideologies. And so there's if you look at the political history of last 2 decades or so, so you can read this decade in terms of the conflict, the confrontation, antagonism between these two political camps, these two political ideologies, these two political imaginations. So in my view, Janakaraliya, among other things, is a very powerful representation of the political camp where which promoted the ideals of social justice, ethnic and interreligious reconciliation, and that kind of political ideas. And so so they were very conscious about them, and also they made a very important effort to take these messages, this political imagination, to the grassroots, to the ordinary people, not necessarily to a like-minded group of people, and and not restricting themselves to a kind of practice that just preaching the convert kind of strategy, but taking the message to the people in a very effective manner, through a very effective media, and even doing very effective experiment within the culture of theater, as well. So that's why it's so unfortunate that this endeavor, this experiment did not continue. That is not I mean, it is nothing to do with their own weaknesses. That is I mean, entirely it is because of the factors that are completely beyond the control of those who I mean those who work within the Janakaraliya framework. So that's, but my only hope is that this important intervention will be revived, and we can see this Janakaraliya making their intervention with a strong commitment in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody who participated in this program. And please try to refer Ranga Manupriya's Janakaraliya book, which is translated into Tamil by Sellasamy Subramaniam Naumani and into English by Vasantha Vakkumura. Not only that, you can refer that YouTube channel Matakapothe Janakaraliya and www.janakaraliya.com website. So thank you very much for joining us, and have a nice day. Good night.